Okay, we are all set. So thanks.
Yep, great. Thanks, Stephen. We'll call the meeting to order and welcome to those folks that are watching the Lennox and Addington County Economic Development Coalition meeting for the 24th day of April 2025. We'll call the meeting to order. Look for a motion for the adoption of the minutes as presented. Moved by Nathan, seconded by Chris. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Look for an adoption of the agenda as it's presented as well. So moved by got the hand up. Nathan, seconded by Patrick. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. And is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Seeing none, matters for consideration. First up, we have a staff report.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. We passed over the adoption of the minutes.
Oh, did I miss the minutes?
We did agenda, but we didn't do minutes.
Maybe I did minutes twice. I thought I did it, but we'll do it again because we don't want to miss it. We'll look for adoption of the minutes as presented for the 13th of February, 2025. Moved by Chris, seconded by Michelle. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Matters for consideration: Naturally LNA tourism and live work campaign. And Rob, are you going to speak to that first, or Stephen?
I think it'll be me to start, and Stephen can chime in when he needs to. I'm just going to share my screen here. Just 1 second. All right. Can everyone see that okay?
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. All right. So I'm just going to go through and just chat a little bit about the digital tourism marketing campaigns that we have going on for this year. So I mentioned it at the February meeting. So we have quite a strong digital presence for our website. Last year we had over 860,000 page views through a lot of it through the paid campaign. We had Google Ads, Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, running on throughout from middle of April until into September, and they focus on our itinerary landing pages, travel contest promotion, and promoting LNA's unique attractions and experiences. We also had a standalone live work campaign last year that did quite well. So this year we decided we're going to do a little bit differently and kind of do a bit of a combination of the two to kind of help retarget and blend the tourism and the live work messaging a little bit more effectively than we did last year, hoping that we get more eyeballs on what we're trying to pitch here. So we're also working on continuing our email nurturing program, which everyone that signs up for our contesting or any type of contact form gets put into an email kind of drip campaign that'll run 10 different emails over the course of the summer, and then they get put into my regular Naturally LNA or this weekend in Naturally LNA email that you guys should be getting on a weekly basis. I mentioned we're doing contesting again this year. It's a real good opportunity for us to not only pitch some of the unique opportunities here, but it's also a good way to get more people to the website, learning a little bit more about Lennox and Addington County. And it's people really like the contesting. Last year we had over I think it was over 20,000 entries, and that resulted in over 9,000 new email addresses that we're able to get into our system and help pitch Lennox and Addington in that way. I'm just going to go through some of the new imagery and some of the new messaging. It'll be brief, a little bit of a show and tell, but the things that we talk about or things that we'll be really focusing on this year is promoting our itineraries. So we have On the Water, Back to the Nature, Farm Experiences, Sip and Savor, Raring to Go, which is targeted towards the retired crowd, things to do with kids, and then history and heritage as well. So this is just a few images that kind of show what it looks like, the type of content that we're creating, and they're the most popular ones from last year as well. So we kind of take what's working and tweak the ones that aren't. So we're thinking they're in pretty good shape to start the year. We just actually, the campaign just started late last night. So those are the Facebook and Instagram portion. And then this is just an example of what we're doing for kind of the on the water, back to nature on the Google Pro ads that we run. So they were actually more popular as far as click-through rates and everything than our Facebook and Instagram was last year. And we have these examples for each of the different categories as well. I just showed you a couple here. So from there, we're also promoting specific activities, kind of things that are unique to us or things that we think we have a competitive advantage on. One of them being cycling, of course, stargazing up at the dark sky viewing area, boating. Bonnet Provincial Park is a unique asset that we try and pitch, and it's already well known throughout the province and the country, so it's an easy recognition piece for people. Again, the raring to go and the things to do with kids again. So this is some examples. We also have ads that, for the cycling side of things, we also have ads that show kind of the back road cycling routes as well as the forest trails up in Flinton as well. Lots on dark sky. We also have both a interior lake boating campaign going, and then also one specific to Lake Ontario, getting some of the bigger boats in through into the Napanee River and into Bath as well. We write those up a little bit differently and have some specific information on our website about them as well. And again, these are the Google Pro examples. I think there's 68 different examples or 68 different ads going right now. So we'll tweak and turn those ones on and get the most favorable results out of them as we can. We also have a campaign or a landing page is specific to the campaign. So it's basically it's a catch-all that we try and really push just people getting to the website and hopefully, or with the expectation that they will browse it and then go to the things that they're most interested in. So it's we do it every year, and it's usually our first or second most popular page on the website over the course of the campaign. So these are just a few examples of what it looks like. This is a screenshot of what the page itself looks like on the right. It's very small if you're depending on what you can see, but it just kind of gives you an overview of where Lennox and Addington is, some of the different experiences that you can do here, and then of course links to everything that for more information. Again, that's the Google messaging that we're trying to push there. There's a character limit on the number of words or expressions you can put in there. So it's short and sweet, and it like I said before, it's quite popular and it works. We also have community pages. So we push each of the municipalities on their own as well, with some specific things depending on what their strengths are. So these are the Greater Napanee ads that we're running, a couple of them anyway, about shopping and about the Napanee River cruise, and then you can see some images down below as well on the Google Ads. For Loyalist Township, it's the history and the water, and that's the ferry going over to Amherst Island, and then also lots of descriptors on the Google Maps side. For Stone Mills Township, it's outdoor experiences, and it's the dark sky viewing area, of course, and then other things to do as well. And then Addington Highlands, that's at Bonnet Provincial Park, and then that's also the second one is a photo of the forest trails in Flinton, and then there's some other shots there as well about outdoor experiences. So this is the new part for this year. So everyone that clicks on an ad or goes to our website will get a kind of a retargeting sponsored ad that comes up in their feeds over the course of the summer as well. And this year they're directed a little bit more towards the live here, work here type of thing. there's quite a few different examples of those as well. This is just a handful. There's also ones that are specific to each of the municipalities, and it's just another way to get more eyeballs on things to do here in Lennox and Addington County, because it's a real opportunity for us to get people here the first time. If they really enjoy what they're doing, there is always that opportunity that they may come and end up moving here and relocating to our county. I mentioned the contest. I'll just go over that briefly. So we've done this. Will be the third year in a row that we've done the contesting. We have I think it's $1,170 prize this year, and it's well worth it. It's a good way for us to, like I said, get those emails and get the eyeballs onto our website. It takes you through we've tried to make it in such a way that it shows people all you can do here over a three-day stretch, and put in an organized way so you can hit all those spots, because it really is, you got to do it the right way, or you're not going to be able to reach all the places that we're offering up either the gift cards or the lunches or the dinners too. So so it's a good one, and you guys are ineligible to win, so don't bother signing up. You can, we might just pick over you. And again, these are just what the ads look like, and it's a good, like I said, it's a great way to get eyeballs on the website. And lastly, I just want to touch on, it's not necessarily digital marketing from a website perspective, but we have signed on with Pattison Signs. For those of you that don't know, they're the big digital signs that are available eastbound and westbound on the 401. From, I guess they're all relatively new. I think last year might have been their first season, at least in the Odessa and the Napanee spots. So we've signed on from July 1st to September 2nd. We've got a decent run over that amount of time. An 8-second ad will run every 2 minutes, 24/7, every day. The overall, and there's also an opportunity if they are short on people signed up to do advertising, that we could get on there more often than that as well, but that's the very minimum that we'll have. So over 2.5 million impressions over the course of the campaign. It's the rotating content. We have the ability to change it whenever we want, but we're thinking at this point, stargazing experiences, outdoor farm type experiences, heritage, cycling, and then I'll talk about that a little bit later, but our Naturally It's a Canadian Thing campaign with our red signs, and kind of hitting on that note as well. So that's it for that presentation. If I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah. Great, thanks, Robert. Go ahead. If there's any questions, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, Rob, are the Pattison signs are interesting. Are those static, or are those like animated, or kind of what's the
These ones are static.
Okay.
Yeah, they run on an 8-second.
Nice. And then I assume that you'll probably even in keeping with the silos that I think the silos are great. I imagine you'll update the content in each of those over the summer, just because people will see them on a pretty regular basis, and I imagine there'll be a bit of an iterative generation of them over the campaign.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, no, we have the ability to change them. Not like an old school sign. We can basically change them up whenever we want to. The Pattison ad department, they actually create we send them all everything we want, and they put it together for us, because they know how to best make it look the way it should and stand out the way it needs to. I didn't mention that we're also getting some new photography done this year as well. So as the season rolls on, we may be able to get some of the new photography up into that as well. So
nice. Looks great.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Rob. Is there any other questions or comments for Rob before we move on? And I don't know if Stephen, did you want to add anything to it or no?
No, I don't think so. Rob's done a good job with it. And as I said, it's starting now, so we'll be able to see the analytics and the results. And, nice thing about any one of these campaigns, kind of to what Chris had said earlier, is we have the ability to kind of change on the fly here based on, what's working and what may not be working. So we keep a pretty close eye to that throughout the whole campaign duration.
Are you posting the contest on there?
On the
On those signs?
on the big digital signs?
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily, but that wouldn't be we haven't really thought, actually, I hadn't really thought about that, but
Kind of a wacky idea. If I saw contest and if it said like contest and then weekend in LNA and then just like, I don't know, quick prompt as I'm driving, I'd be like, hey, look that up super quick. And then they're going to enter and then they're going to come back.
no, it's possible for sure. As long as you have a passenger and not somebody
Just
trying
being
to
wacky.
QR code on their own. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rochelle. And these are the same signs that they're, if you travel west, you'll see them at the en routes, I think, Rob, if I'm not mistaken. You can't miss them, right?
Yeah, you definitely can't miss them. We actually, last year we had RTO9, our Southeastern Ontario, the regional marketing organization. They helped us promote Lennox and Addington, and they did the payment for it, but we had a fall experiences one, and then we actually had a run through November and into December that was kind of the bakery cafe type of thing, and Elena was actually on it. So according to Elena from Elena's Cafe, she was recognized quite a bit, and a lot of people came in saying they saw her larger than life on the big board at the Camden East stop. So
yeah,
I saw it when I
Michelle.
drove by the one day. I was like, Elena. It was cool.
Yeah, you definitely can't miss them. That's for sure.
Mhm.
Is there any other questions or comments for Rob or Stephen? If not, we'll look for a motion to note and receive the staff report, Naturally LNA Tourism Live Work Campaign highlights. Yeah, moved by Chris. Or do you have a question, Chris? Yeah, moved by Chris, seconded by Patrick. There's no further comments, questions, or concerns. All in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Next up, it's a Canadian Thing campaign. And Rob, you're going to speak to that one as well?
yeah. Okay, I'll share my screen again here. So this is one that was presented to us as an opportunity, well, after January 20th, I guess, but it's something that we think will be a pretty big hit, just with the patriotism that is happening throughout the country right now. And it's a good way for us to really highlight and showcase even more the local business community that we have here in Lennox and Addington County. So the campaign will be highlighting local shops, restaurants, service providers, and manufacturers as well, that they're whether or not they're Canadian or not, they're manned and they're staffed by Canadian people, and it's something that no matter who's here in Lennox and Addington County, they're going to be able to grab a Canadian Thing sign for sure. I'll just mention here, it says the kind of the boilerplate we have for this is that choosing to support local means you're investing in your neighbors, boosting the local economy, and contributing to the prosperity of Canada. So with that, we've also done some technical updates before we started up our specific Facebook campaign for this. So it's just made our website a little bit more user friendly, updated the imagery a little bit, and did a little bit of different messaging. And I'll get into a little bit more in a bit, but we've also created these naturally it's a Canadian Thing banners that kind of play on what we've done with our naturally it's a local thing, the blue signs that we have out. So basically the ultimate goal of the campaign is for us to get eyeballs on our online directory and learn more about the Lennox and Addington businesses that are here. Back before we started, we reached out to our full business database to make sure that they had their listings up to date, and if they didn't happen to be on our business directory, they had the opportunity to add their information. We just want to make everything as accurate and up to date as possible. We also created a new skin to the website, so just changing up some photos, changing up some of the terminology, and really focusing on the kind of the Canadian spin type of thing as well. We also created a new meet the people behind the work that highlights the business owners and staff and themselves. When you click on the link, if you go to naturalla.ca/local, scroll down towards the bottom, you'll be able to see that. Currently, we have 50 businesses that are showcased, and over the last, I guess, 4 years or so, I've been getting photographs of business owners on a pretty regular basis. You've probably seen them on Facebook and Instagram over the course of that time. So I've been able to populate those, and this new campaign that we're doing will allow us to get me back out and seeing more of the business owners and giving them the new signs. But just it's another excuse for us to go in and check in to make sure everything's okay, and if they're not, we can try and help them as best we can. The campaign launched on April the 8th, and so far over that, I guess it's 16 days or so, we've had 13,000 views on our local pages, and for over 3 months, we had 27,986 views. So we're almost 50% higher over a 2-week stretch, which is very promising for the campaign, which will run until the end of July. So these are just some examples of what's running. This is McKinnon Brothers. Just the terminology there, the wording about what it means to shop local and to support local. This is another example. That's Wilton Cheese Factory there. We've got a few of them going, but there's a couple examples. They all go to our landing page for the local pages, for the local website. And then, like I said, we want people to click over and go to the directory from there. So we also have carousel ads that are running on Facebook. So these will be updated periodically as well once I get out and getting some updated photos with the red Canadian thing banners. And again, it's just ways for us to showcase some of the businesses that are making and doing things right here in LNA. I think, no, that's not the image of Elena that was on the big screen. It was just Elena larger than life on the digital board. That's her son with her there. Some more. And then that's the last one that we've got going currently. So I have gone out and gotten a few. We just got the signs last week. So I've hit up a few. I went up to I distributed throughout Addington Highlands yesterday. So a few in Stone Mills and Greater Napanee. I'll be heading out to Loyalist Township early next week to get some out there as well. So that's it. Again, if anyone has any more questions.
Great. Thanks, Rob. Does anybody got any questions or comments for Rob with respect to the report or the presentation? No, seeing none. Appreciate that, Rob. We'll look for a motion to note and receive the Naturally It's Canadian Thing campaign report. Moved by Nathan, seconded by Michelle. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Thanks, folks. Tariff Support Program staff report. And I think, Stephen, you're going to do that one, eh?
I will. Yes. Thank you. So in this report, it's really information for you and information we're sharing with businesses on programs that are currently available because of the tariffs, or certainly the challenging environment for businesses, manufacturers of all sizes working with the United States. So you'll see here that there's kind of a real range of programs that are available, from Ontario Tax Deferral Program to some WSIB rebates that are available right now for companies. There's also opportunities for looking at what they call remissions. So I talked to, and I guess I maybe should say as well, we're traveling around and talking to businesses and trying to get a feel, of course, of how they're doing. But use an example for remissions. So there's one company who predominantly uses aluminum and steel in their manufacturing processes. They've been given a bit of a pass on tariffs until the end of the year. So they're being supported right now with regards to that. But that's not going to last forever. So as you can imagine, they're trying to work at finding new markets and new ways around some of the potential tariffs that are coming or are on the products right now as we speak. A new one that just came out last week, just after I wrote this report, the province of Ontario has grant program that's helping manufacturers who are directly affected by basically tariffs or exporting to the United States, money to help them look at new markets, diversify products, potentially bring new things, new products online and on stream as well. So you can get up to, I think it's up to $15 million that could be available for those manufacturers and business owners in Ontario. So the application process just opened up yesterday on that one. So I'm talking to a few businesses with regards to that as well. And the expectation is that there's going to be more to come if things don't get better, at least to get through the near term. But when it's all said and done, it's there's not an end time or an end deadline to these challenges they're outlining. So it's very different than, I'll use the pandemic as an example, where I think we all knew that at some point there was going to be an end. This is really going to be about potentially, hopefully, some renegotiations that happen. But I think most importantly, it's an eye-opener for our businesses and manufacturers in particular, that they are going to have to look at some new markets and new ways of doing business, which is pretty scary, as you can imagine, when you've got companies here right in Lennox, Addington, who send 90% of their products across the border to the United States. So how that will play out in the next little while, it's still to be determined, but there are some programs that can at least support them for now. And because as we go and talk to our companies, we're learning more about challenges they have and hopefully some alternative markets that they can look at. I guess what I will say, without saying a company name, there certainly was one company in particular that's being hit really hard by the aluminum and steel tariffs. So when you're looking at a company that manufactures with those products, so they're getting hit potentially from that product coming across from China, because there's tariffs on that right now, those items coming into Canada. And then any product that has aluminum or steel in it right now is being hit by 25% once it crosses the US border. So it's not just like you're moving a sheet of aluminum across and you're being tariffed. If there's aluminum in your product, you're being tariffed 25%. So, this is a company that had significant sales increases over the last few years, had expansion plans, and, you can just imagine what this does for business planning. And so it's extremely, extremely difficult. And I don't think I need to kind of preach to you about what those challenges might be. But just we're starting to see some real life LNA examples that are coming across the board right now, unfortunately. So happy to answer any questions or any discussions along those lines.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. Has anybody got any comments or questions for Stephen? No, don't see any, Stephen, but appreciate the update. It's it's interesting times that we're living in right now. So we can't really plan much ahead of tomorrow, to be quite honest with you. And even getting through to the end of the day sometimes could be a challenge. But I appreciate the update on that.
Okay, thanks.
Look for a motion to note and receive the report with respect to tariff support programs. Moved by Chris, seconded by Patrick. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Next up is Stephen again, I believe, Economic Development Activity Report. So whenever you're ready, Steve.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I'll just kind of go through a few of the things that we've been working on since we last met. I guess I should maybe lead it off in saying that, just as companies are looking to, change their markets or their potential customer opportunities, we're kind of doing the same on economic development. We're really looking at, lead generation, conferences and trade shows that we would attend that, the reality is that they don't include United States companies right now, and look at trying to expand out our markets as well for Lennox and County, both domestically, but also doing some work with partnerships into Europe as well, with Ontario East Economic Development and Invest Ontario as well. We're really changing, again, their approaches as we kind of look to future growth and investment within the area. So to that point, there's a kind of couple, 2 or 3, a little bit more local shows that we did. So we participated in Restaurants Canada show. That's in partnership with Ontario East Economic Development, which is a bunch of economic developers like myself from kind of Port Hope all the way to Cornwall. So Restaurants Canada, we had a large booth there, and all the communities brought small businesses with them. So for the 3 days, we had McKinnon Brothers and County Bounty were there at this show. And this is a show where restaurants and actually buyers for grocery stores and some small markets and shops across Ontario are looking for new products. So this provided the opportunity for both of those companies to do some sampling, have conversations, and hopefully get new customers and new sales, which we definitely saw that happen for those 3 days. We're also heading back next week to another show called SIAL, SIAL, and County Bounty is going to be with us there. It's a show that is predominantly, you kind of look, it's not necessarily restaurants. This is more grocery stores, Costco's, but also kind of private label blends or brands that are at these shows. So again, looking at opportunities for Eastern Ontario businesses at those as well. And then I will go and be talking to, companies who are looking to invest in Canada. There's quite a few European food companies that will be at this show as well. Liam, who's our small business coach, he was last week at Discovery X conference. So that's very much a startup kind of tech conference. So lots of interesting things that came from there, particularly on the AI focus and things on data centers and just kind of some pretty interesting, new, innovative, creative things that are coming right out of Ontario, which I think was the great thing about this show. But most of these are very much homegrown as well. And Rob, I mentioned, but Rob, you're going right tomorrow. It's tomorrow, yeah, the 25th. Rob's heading to the Social Next Toronto show, which is all about digital and social media, and a bit of a training opportunity for Rob and some of the marketing that you've heard about tonight and how we can do things a little bit differently. And then lastly, there's an opportunity in Prince Edward County. It's called the Teeny Tiny Summit. And if there's any members, and I know Chris has indicated he'd like to go, but any other members who'd like to go to that event, we'd be more than happy to look after your admission to that. And there is quite a few kind of interesting speakers that are there. And I don't know, Chris, if there's anything you wanted to add to it, because I know you've been digging into the agenda a little bit.
No, it just looked interesting. It was small town focused, and even hyper small town. I think about some of the super little hamlets around here, and there needs to be strategies for them. It can't just be, well, we have a plan at 15,000 people. That's great. There are a lot of small. So I'm curious to know what they have to say. Yeah, I'll report back.
Yeah. Peter Kenyon is speaking at that event. I've actually met Peter. Peter's from Australia, and I think you'll find him very, very interesting. He has a real great take on communities our size and how businesses can work together, and just his approach on things as well. But as I said, if anyone else is interested on the coalition to participate, please let myself know, and we can get you signed up for that.
Okay,
thanks.
great.
I'm happy to any questions along those lines.
Great, thanks, Stephen. Is there any questions or comments for Stephen? Just quickly, Stephen, are you starting to notice, or are you getting any kind of a feel that maybe there's some folks from south of the border that are interested in investing north of the border? Or what's your feel on that? Or is there any feel at all to it?
Well, I mean, there's been one in particular that we know of. I'd have to say right now, I mean, it's quieted down. I mean, it really has. I mean, the leads, the inquiries, just the phone calls that we're seeing, not necessarily from American-based companies, but even from, Amafra, Invest Ontario, Invest Canada. Those are few and far between right now. And I know, talking to my counterparts right across the province, it's the same. Everybody it's much quieter, and that's why the emphasis now needs to be put on getting away from the U.S. marketplace and looking at Europe and Asia. I think even on the economic development side, we've always looked to the U.S. just like our manufacturers have for exporting, and because that's where the money was. That's changed now. We have to adjust to that and see that how we can look at new markets and the opportunities that, for example, a European company can come in and look after the Canadian marketplace, but easily still ship back into Europe as well. So there's things like that we're looking at.
Yeah.
Having said that, I guess to your point though, Canada is still a good market for certain things, and we're seeing that on. And I do believe the opportunities are going to come from critical minerals, resources, AI database kind of work is going to be predominant because of our electricity that we have here and the availability that we have, which is not available in the United States right now. So even though I kind of was a little bit doom and gloom there are opportunities for us, and I think that's what's promising as we potentially look at how we do work here at kind of on a micro level. But I think how Canada adapts and moves forward with this, there could be some really good things that come from this, and making an adjustment and changing some of our customer base absolutely could be, and really focusing on what our strengths are is a real good possibility, which I think we've actually turned our back on some of those things over the last few years.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. And I think you're absolutely right. As I think we are in a very good position to kind of turn a lemonade into a lemonade stand here in light of everything that's going on, just because of who we are and where we are and the good things I think that can happen here. So I was just wondering whether you're, the feel was everybody sitting on their hands waiting for the storm to blow through, or are things sort of, there is a possibility that things will start to move along, I guess. And everybody will realize it's not going to end really soon, I don't think so.
No, and I think if we all were kind of in the shoes of a CEO for any size company, I don't know if any one of us would say that we'd be comfortable investing any dollars right now. And that's even without tariffs, with just the uncertainty that's in the overall marketplace and in the global economy right now is like literally stopping capital investments. There's just way too much risk. And yeah, until that starts to settle down, there's probably going to be a lot of companies with just a lot of cash ready to go at some point in time. When that ready to go is, I'm not really sure.
I would echo the comment. Like the unpredictability is unsustainable in terms of what's been done. Usually it's an economic condition that creates this. And in this instance, it's really driven by one man making decisions that has impacted the entire globe, if you will. And I think the pressure is on that side of the border in terms of the sustainability of the tariffs. I don't think they can keep up what they're doing, because it's going to impact their own manufacturing, their own consumer costs, their own prices. Let alone, I think one of the big things to the tariffs that's a win to the Canadian side of it is, in fact, there will be more Canadian tourism, both inside of Canada and a significant impact on the United States from the lack of tourism visiting the States, which is, if you take over 50% of the tourists away from the United States, just Canada alone, it's in the neighborhood of $10+ billion in economic impact to that community. And those are the numbers that they're starting to approach and likely to exceed, let alone the global impact of that as well.
Yeah. Like I say, it's kind of nice to know or think or believe anyways, is that it's not all doom and gloom right now. Yeah, it's a bit of a dark period right now, but I think there is light at the end of the tunnel. When that is, I don't know, but hopefully sooner than later. So, is there anything else? If not, we'll look for a motion to note and receive the Economic Development Activity Report for the 14th of April, 2025. Moved by Patrick, seconded by Michelle. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried, and we'll look for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Chris, seconded by Nathan. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you very much, folks. It was an informative evening.
Thank you.
We'll see you later.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.